I want to take just a minute and talk about the Washington, D.C. temple, which was our assigned temple. And I can't even talk about it without getting emotional. Anyway, this back when we joined the church, which was in 1977, we our assigned temple was Washington, D.C. And as I've mentioned in sacrament meeting before, it's a 10-hour drive to get there. But what I thought I'd talk about is not so much the drive, but I'd talk a little bit about what it's like when you take, when the temple's that far away. It took us a day to drive there. My parents happened to live about an hour and a half from the temple. And so we would take all day and take all the kids with us, and we'd drive to the temple, and we'd spend that first evening with my parents. And then the next morning we'd pack up real early and we'd go into the temple, and they'd get to spend time with their grandkids while we were doing that on these trips. And it was really neat to do that, except that you're there for a day and that's it. You won't get back for another year. So we would do an endowment session, and we would walk into the celestial room after that, and we would kind of just beeline for the door, and we'd go back down, change, clothing a little bit, and then we would go back up and do another endowment session, and we had a loop going where we would do as many, like going skiing. You jump on the ski lift, you come down and you go back up and see how many runs you can get in. We had to see how many endowment sessions we could get in a day in the temple. And about the middle of the afternoon, we were starting to go brain dead, and so we would stop, because it was just kind of exhausting to do that many. Of course, you have to remember these are 2 hour and 15-minute sessions back then when we did this. And then afterwards, we would, with a little what we had left in the afternoon, we would go down to this wonderful little bookstore, which was about 15 minutes from the temple in Washington, D.C. Not real big, but we walked into that the first time, and it was like, oh my gosh, look at all these cool books, because this was life before the internet and life before Amazon and life before the ease of getting books and things like that. And we would it was like a little piece of heaven in that little bookstore to walk in and see all the different books and stuff that they had there. And that was our day at the temple. We'd go back out and spend usually another day or two with my parents, and then we would drive all the way back. But it was a very different experience than we have here, where we can go do an 8 o'clock session, and by 9:30 we're home and off and doing other things, and we can do that every week. And what a wonderful blessing it is to be able to do that and spend that kind of time doing that.
And we can go down to Deseret Bookstore anytime we want.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah. Deseret Bookstore is just amazing. So, but anyway, I wanted to share that with you and do so in the name of